Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something that's running in the background of your life every single day. We're talking about Malaysia's public sector, and probably the best way to think about it is as the operating system of the entire nation. It's that huge, complex program that keeps everything ticking along whether we notice it or not. You have, right? Of course you have. And right there, that's it. That's your daily interaction with the public sector. See, it's not some far-off, complicated idea. It's the very fabric of our daily lives. So how does this massive operating system actually work? And what does it really mean for you and me? Well, let's break it all down. All right, first things first, what exactly is the public sector? If we're sticking with our analogy, this is us looking at the definition of the core program itself, the code that runs the whole country. To put it simply, the public sector is the government in action. It's this massive network of official bodies. We're talking everything from huge ministries all the way down to your local council. And they're all tasked with two gigantic jobs. First, delivering all the essential services to more than 30 million people. And second, managing all of the nation's resources on our behalf. Now, this is what really makes the public sector unique. It's like its DNA. The biggest thing to remember is that unlike a private company, its goal isn't to make a profit. It's all about public welfare. And since it runs on our money, from taxes and fees, it is directly accountable to us, the public. It's built on a bureaucratic structure, not just to be complicated, but to try and ensure fairness, to make sure everyone gets served, not just those who can afford to pay the most. Okay, so we know what it is, but how is a system this huge actually organized? Let's take a look at the system architecture that holds it all together. It's basically built on 3 different levels. You can think of it like this. The federal government at the top might set a national policy, like for education. Then, the state government is in charge of overseeing the schools in your particular state. And finally, your local council is the one making sure the roads to get to that school are in good shape and that the trash gets collected. It's this cascade of responsibility, from the 30,000-foot view right down to what's happening on your street. So the structure makes sense, but what does this operating system actually do? What are the core processes it's running every day that we can actually see and feel? This is where it all becomes real for us. These aren't just words on a screen. They are the absolute cornerstones of a functioning society. Think about it. The education that builds our future, the healthcare that keeps us safe, the roads and power lines that connect us. These are the essential apps that the public sector runs for all of us, day in and day out. But, behind the scenes, there's so much more going on. The public sector is also managing the entire national economy. It's creating and enforcing the laws that keep society in order, it's running social welfare programs for those who need a hand, and it's doing the huge, complex job of actually putting government policies into practice. These are the critical background processes that you might not see, but they keep the whole system stable. Now, a system this big and this powerful absolutely needs some checks and balances. So who is making sure it's running the way it's supposed to and for the benefit of the people? Well, the very first layer of accountability is the law itself. The entire public sector is bound by the federal constitution, which is the highest law in the land. And things like the Public Services Act and the Audit Act give it clear rules. You can think of these documents as the source code for accountability, making sure no part of the government is above the law. And this shows you exactly how that accountability flows. It's a cycle. It starts with our money, our taxes, funding the system. Then that money is used to deliver services. And this is the crucial part. Institutions like Parliament and the National Audit Department provide oversight. They check the books. And finally, it comes right back around to us, the public, to look at the results and hold the whole system accountable for its performance. So we've looked at what it is, how it's built, and how it's kept in check. But so what? What's the real-world impact of all this? Why is a high-performing public sector so incredibly important? I mean, the contrast here could not be more clear. This isn't just about things being a little more convenient. It's literally the difference between a society that moves forward together and one that just falls apart. A strong, functioning public sector is the foundation that prevents the kind of disorder, stagnation, and deep inequality you see on the other side. The stakes are incredibly high. And its role is much bigger than just providing services. This quote really hits the nail on the head. As one of the country's biggest employers and a massive economic player in its own right, the public sector is a powerful engine for national growth. It directly shapes the financial health and progress of the entire country. Of course, no system is perfect.
And just like any piece of software, Malaysia's public operating system has some bugs that need fixing, and it definitely needs regular updates to keep up with the times. So let's look at the challenges on the horizon.
These aren't just items on a to-do list. They're the fundamental questions for the future. How can a system this massive become more efficient? How does it adapt to the incredible speed of technological change? In a world that demands instant information, how does it become truly transparent? These are the puzzles that the next generation of public service absolutely has to solve. And that really brings us to our final thought for today. As the world keeps changing faster and faster, we have to ask ourselves, if you could push one major update to this huge, complex, and absolutely vital operating system, what would it be? What do you think is the single most important upgrade we need to make sure it keeps serving the nation well for years to come? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.